Everybody's favorite 2-hour block of professional wrestling on Wednesday night, man. Your official NXT and Lucha Underground review. Let's talk about it. What is going on, guys? JD from New York here. Thank you guys so much for tuning back into the channel. What I got for you tonight is your official NXT and Lucha Underground review for September 28th, 2016. We're going to start off with NXT, guys, before we get into the Lucha Underground, because NXT is a lot easier for me to discuss and pretty much get through, because I know most of you are probably here for my second official Lucha Underground review here for Season 3. Now, as it concerns NXT, coming out of Brooklyn TakeOver, SummerSlam weekend, those first couple of tapings for NXT, you definitely seen that they were in a rebuilding phase. Not a lot of important stuff happened on those shows. They were definitely in a rebuilding phase, and this is obviously due in part to WWE pulling several of their talents from NXT for the WWE draft for both Monday Night Raw and Tuesday Night SmackDown's brand extension. So those shows that were showcased following NXT TakeOver Brooklyn, they were a little bit boring. They were on the boring side. Obviously, they were like a Major League Baseball team in a rebuilding phase, trying to find out where their current stars are going to be going on into the future. And with NXT TakeOver Toronto now being announced for Survivor Series weekend, the shows are starting to get a little bit more better. We see some direction. We see some blueprints laid out as far as WWE and what they want to do. Tonight, we got the announcement of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic taking place. 16 teams will vie to win this tournament. The matches will start next week, and the finals will take place at NXT TakeOver Toronto on SummerSlam weekend. So that was the opening announcement from William Regal on tonight's show. Opening match, seeing Ty Dillinger versus Angelo Dawkins. Ty Dillinger definitely is one of those guys that, to me, anyway, my honest opinion, that has been on the short end of the stick. There were others ahead of him, but Ty Dillinger, underneath everybody being pushed ahead of him, there's a prime talent there in Ty Dillinger. Man, the crowd loves him. Full Sail loves him. He's got the charisma, he's got the attitude, he's got the look, he's got the gimmick, he's got the theme, he's got everything working for him. Ty Dillinger is honestly on the verge of being a breakout star in NXT. And I believe this will begin tonight, leading on into Toronto. Ty Dillinger has been great for months. People have been crying for him to be in WWE 2K17. He's in the game. People have been crying for him to get a push because he's terribly underutilized. He is getting a push. He beat Angelo Dawkins tonight, but that's not even the most important thing about Ty Dillinger tonight. Tonight, Bobby Roode comes out after Ty Dillinger beats Angelo Dawkins with the tiebreaker. Absolutely beautiful move, man. That modified neck breaker from the fireman carries position. Bobby Roode comes out in his glorious self, looking sharp, nice suit. He comes out and he states that he is here in NXT to fight the best. And he is here to win the Dusty Rhodes Memorial Tag Team Classic. He said that Ty Dillinger's win was impressive, but he's here to propose a tag team offer. He wants to win the Tag Team Classic, the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic, and he needs a tag team partner. He and Ty Dillinger officially become a tag team, and Perfectly Glorious is formed. The crowd was wanting this the moment Bobby Roode came out in front of the Full Sail crowd, man. The Glorious 10, whatever you want to go and call them, this will be fucking phenomenal, man. Two Canadians heading to Toronto to potentially win this Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic, man, this tournament. So it's going to be fucking awesome. The entire tournament, I am assuming, is going to revolve around these guys because they are two of the most popular guys in NXT. And I think this is a great way, if you're not going to immediately include Bobby Roode in the NXT title discussion, because we all know Samoa Joe and Shinsuke Nakamura are headed for their rematch at NXT TakeOver Toronto. This is the best thing, man. You put two of the most over guys in NXT together. I unfortunately read the spoilers. I will not go over the spoilers for you guys here tonight in the review because I don't do that type of thing. But obviously, what we are going to be in for is a treat headed into Toronto with these two guys, man. Keep an eye on both Bobby Roode and Ty Dillinger. This is going to be a very, very fun ride. And certainly, this is the type of thing we need coming out of NXT TakeOver Brooklyn, man, where everything just felt very lazy, very boring, unimportant. NXT and WWE are picking up the steam now, again, headed into TakeOver. And this is the one thing that WWE does so well, is that when a TakeOver event comes, they plan perfectly, they know what they want to do, and when the event comes and the night of the event happens, TakeOver always feels like a monumental special event that can't be missed. So there's no question in my mind NXT TakeOver Toronto is going to be the same thing, and we're going to see guys like Bobby Roode and Ty Dillinger and Ember Moon. All of these new faces are going to play a vital role in making Toronto another huge success for WWE. Hideo Itami is ready to face an athlete like Lincei Dorado. He's making his NXT debut tonight. And Austin Aries and Hideo Itami are going back and forth. I heard a few people via my YouTube comment section and my Twitter saying that they don't like the mic skills of Hideo Itami. I think they are very good for what they are, man. You know, he's very clear in what he's trying to get across. He's very, I don't know the right word, but you can understand what he's saying and where he's trying to come from. So he and Austin Aries, I'm looking forward to that match. They're building that up quite nicely as a undercard match that will probably take place at NXT TakeOver Toronto. Tonight, Lincei Dorado's making his NXT debut, like I said, against Hideo Itami. Austin Aries was not there tonight. Moving on, guys, we had the Ely brothers. I had no idea who these guys were. Apparently, they are the first ever twin tag team to debut at Full Sail University via the WWE Performance Center. They were scheduled to go against the Revival, but lo and behold, the absolute best thing on WWE television right now, and I'm including all of NXT, SmackDown, and Monday Night Raw. Samoa Joe comes out right as the Revival makes their entrance. He walks right in between them down the ramp. Not just walks, he fucking bum rushes the ring. And the Ely brothers stood no chance, man. Samoa Joe went on a barrage of kicks, punches, and Samoan drops, senton drops in the ring, literally destroying these guys. He gets on the microphone and says, "This is the product of William Regal unable to come to a logical decision. This is only the beginning of your roster being decimated because you can't come to a decision to give me what is rightfully mine, and that is the NXT Championship." Samoa Joe is absolutely the best thing on WWE television. He is the only, and I mean this wholeheartedly, bro, he is the only legitimate heel in the WWE that knows his role, that knows his character, that knows exactly what needs to be done as far as that type of role for a WWE superstar on the roster, man. You look up and down the heels on the roster. You look at Kevin Owens, you look at all these other guys who portray heel, Bray Wyatt. They're all cocky heels. AJ Styles, they're all heels that don't really play up to the heel role. They feel like they are a cool heel instead of being a legitimate heel guy, a bad guy, if you want me to use a simpler term, a bad guy in WWE who cheats to get ahead, who just has that attitude where I don't give a fuck what the authority figures say. I'm going to do what I want, and if you don't give me what I want, I am going to take things into my own hands. Samoa Joe has this down perfectly. And this story, honestly, is the most intriguing on WWE television because what is William Regal going to do? How is he going to stop Samoa Joe? How is he going to stop Samoa Joe from hijacking the shows? And every week he comes out going to ruin the shows. He already put Shinsuke Nakamura on the shelf. Nakamura, per storyline, is going to be out 6 to 8 weeks, 6 to 12 weeks, whatever the amount of time is. Obviously, he's going to be at NXT TakeOver Toronto. We are going to see Shinsuke Nakamura and Samoa Joe. And I mentioned this several weeks ago. You see how NXT builds their feuds in their matches. It's fucking phenomenal, man. Not once before their first match did Shinsuke Nakamura and Samoa Joe touch. I think the only time that they ever engaged was in the middle of the ring, and it was like in a playful manner on the part of Nakamura. He stole Samoa Joe's nose, enraging the Beast even more before their match. I believe it was on the Go Home show, or I think the week before that. I think the Go Home show was the sit down that they had, where Nakamura was dressed like Kurt Cobain in his flannel, and he was just smirking and, you know, listening to what Samoa Joe had to say, and he understood what he was trying to say, but he really didn't give a fuck what he had to say, because he knew he was going to take the title. Samoa Joe felt not only that Nakamura was disrespecting him, but he felt like Nakamura was taking this as a complete joke. So, obviously, that led to the match, and when we got the match, everything was just fucking great. You know, the anticipation of these guys not touching each other and not having any interaction with each other in the ring physically, it all led to a great match. And now that Samoa Joe took out Nakamura, Nakamura is only going to come back and try and get one over on Samoa Joe before we have this explosive match in NXT TakeOver Toronto. They are building this and setting up the pieces perfectly for when this happens, and when these two guys are in the ring, it is going to be an explosive match, man. And I can't wait to see it happen. NXT is just doing the right things, man, and it's just simple mechanics. Simple mechanics to get people invested in a feud. And what they're doing with Joe and Nakamura is absolutely simplistic, yet brilliant. So I can't wait to see what happens. Samoa Joe, easily the best thing on all of WWE television. Mandy Rose versus Ember Moon. This match lasted 3 minutes and 9 seconds. Ember Moon with the lunar eclipse, or the total eclipse. Beautiful finishing move. The top rope spinning stunner by Ember Moon. Probably my favorite of all the women in WWE right now. That's including the main roster. Ember Moon is going to be a legit superstar. She has what it takes. She's got the in-ring skill. She's obviously got the look. She's very beautiful. Ember Moon versus Mandy Rose. Mandy Rose, listen, she does remind me a little too much of Eva Marie. But the differences between Mandy Rose and Eva Marie is Mandy Rose is wearing all gold. Eva Marie wears all red. But the thing with Mandy Rose is she actually can move in the ring. She can actually move in the ring, where Eva Marie feels like she's fucking swimming underwater while she's in the squared circle. So, you know, there is a huge difference there. She does remind me a little bit too much of Eva Marie, and that in itself is not good when it comes to me. But she can take a punch. She can throw a punch. She knows a move or two, where Eva Marie knows nothing. So, Ember Moon, Mandy Rose, obviously this was only a match to set up Ember Moon more and more as a legitimate threat to taking Asuka down when they eventually square off one-on-one. Ember Moon with the Eclipse, 3 minutes and 9 seconds. Mandy Rose did get some offense in, but it was obviously not enough to take down Ember Moon. Jonny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa want to win the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic, and they want to get their titles that they felt were rightfully taken right underneath their nose at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn from the Revival. So that is going to be interesting to see Gargano and Ciampa in this tournament. Another team that's going to be in the tournament is the Authors of Pain. I have no idea who's going to stop this team. If I am a betting man, I am going with the Authors of Pain and Paul Ellering to win this entire tournament. They were in a squash match tonight against Jesus Yurnet and Jonathan Cruz. Needless to say, these guys got fucking destroyed. Paul Ellering actually took the microphone and said Chapter 1 was already written. Chapter 2, well, you guys are going to see more and more destruction, and that is all you need to know. And he reiterated, again, that is all you need to know. The next chapter will bring more pain from Paul Ellering and the Authors of Pain. Backstage, William Regal can't get a hold of Shinsuke Nakamura. Obviously, he says that he is a very difficult man to get a hold of. He's very different than anybody he's ever had to deal with in NXT. Obviously, they are concerned about Nakamura's well-being. Blake and Murphy come on in, and they are bickering in front of William Regal. He gets upset. They want in the Tag Team Classic. He says, get the fuck out of my office. You guys obviously can't get your shit straightened out, so go get your shit straightened out and then come talk to me. Until then, get the fuck out of my office. So, Blake and Murphy, they won in the tournament, and they still can't get on the same page. Asuka, who is undefeated, and your NXT Women's Champion versus Liv Morgan. This was a complete fucking waste of time. Few things here that I want to make note of. Number one, Liv Morgan annoys me. I don't know about you guys, but it's her theme music. I think that's the most annoying aspect of her. And the fact that she's bouncing around and she's 4'9", and she's acting all fucking tough, and she's from New Jersey, and she looks like she can co-star on fucking Jersey Shore. I don't know what is more annoying, man. I'm not really feeling Liv Morgan right now. And the fact that they built Liv Morgan up as this little firecracker who wants to try and take down big ol' Asuka and the NXT Championship, yet she gets in there in 55 seconds and fucking taps out to a double armbar. That was pretty much it, guys. Liv Morgan was absolutely destroyed. Asuka's gonna kill you. No fucking question. I think Asuka took the crowd's chance, literally, because she killed Liv Morgan in less than 1 minute. Asuka got on the microphone and says no one is ready for her. Ember Moon will be ready for Asuka. It's just going to take a little time and a little patience on the WWE audience part. Next week, we got Cedric Alexander and Andrade Cien Almas, Mr. Strippergram himself, versus the Revival in the first round of the Dusty Tag Team Classic. Fully believe that the Revival is going to go on and advance. They are the tag team champions. No way do I see them getting bounced out in the first round. Main event scene, Lincei Dorado versus Hideo Itami. They went 10 minutes, 22 seconds. Crowd was pretty much dead for this match, man. I don't know what's going on with Full Sail. Sometimes they come alive. Sometimes when you think that they're going to be all into the match, they aren't. And they were not into the match. You know, Lincei Dorado, coming out of the Cruiserweight Classic, man, he was one of the highlights of the entire tournament for me. The way he moves so gracefully and freely and so easily. He just makes everything look so easy. You know, he barely got any reaction. You know, the match really wasn't all that. It was kind of slow and it was sloppy at some parts. Hideo Itami, the one thing with Hideo Itami is I feel like the crowd really isn't warming up to him. You know, obviously Brooklyn loved him. He made that appearance and he attacked Austin Aries in Brooklyn at the Barclays Center. I feel like the Full Sail crowd really isn't all that invested in Hideo Itami. All they want to see is the GTS. They pop when the GTS comes up and when he pulls out the GTS. But for the most part, Hideo Itami really isn't getting the reaction coming back from his surgery that I expected. And this is a guy that I feel will be the next one to challenge Shinsuke Nakamura for the NXT Championship when he gets through with Samoa Joe. And if that time is coming, you know, obviously with the way the crowd reactions are for Hideo Itami, it's not going to be good for either man. You know, obviously being in the ring with Shinsuke Nakamura is going to do Hideo Itami good, but the way Bobby Roode is going right now, I would actually put Bobby Roode ahead of Hideo Itami as the next man to challenge Shinsuke Nakamura. And Hideo Itami was certainly on fire. He was certainly in title discussion before he got hurt. That 1.5-year layoff, man, did him absolutely no good. It derailed his career to the point where it's going to be a long uphill battle for Hideo Itami to get back into the good graces of the fans. People right now just are not that invested. They do care, but they're not at the level where he was before the injury and before the surgery. But he did win tonight. He beat Lincei Dorado with the GTS, 10 minutes and 22 seconds. Post-match here, Austin Aries comes out, and he tries to jump Hideo Itami. He gets in a few shots and runs away. Hideo Itami gets back up and tells him to get back here. Their feud will continue. I believe it will be a culmination of everything that happens at NXT TakeOver Toronto, and that was pretty much NXT in a nutshell. The most important thing here was Samoa Joe, again, just getting one over on William Regal and ruining part of the show, part of the planned segment that William Regal had with the Revival. And then obviously the announcement of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. That will start next week. We will see Cedric Alexander and Andrade Cien Almas, Mr. fucking Strippergram. Is he going to pop out of a cake next week? I don't know, man, but they're going against the Revival. So that's going to be exciting. NXT is slowly starting to pick up speed and steam heading into NXT TakeOver Toronto. So it's going to be interesting. The shows will get better. And coming out of Brooklyn, you know, they did put on a few shows here and there that were not unimportant, or that were not important, but they are, like I said, they are gaining a little bit momentum getting into that TakeOver card. So that was pretty much what happened on NXT, guys. Let's get into Lucha Underground for September 28th, 2016. All right, guys, Lucha Underground Season 3, Episode number 4, entitled Brothers in Broken Arms. What we seen last week to close the show was Rey Mysterio being named the special guest referee in a match between his student, Dragon Azteca Jr. and Chavo Guerrero. Now, we talked about Dario Cueto talking about how Dragon Azteca Jr. wanted a match with Pentagon Dark, and Dario Cueto changed that to a match with Azteca Jr. and Chavo Guerrero. He penciled in Rey Mysterio as the special guest referee and then changed his mind. He says, you know what? I'm going to erase this. I'm actually going to put this down in pen, meaning that it is going to be permanent. So Rey Mysterio and Dragon Azteca Jr. versus Chavo Guerrero was the main storyline that they concluded on last week's show, and that was going to be the main event for tonight's show. Also, we seen Dario Cueto finding out that Cortez Castro is an undercover agent for the LAPD, and they are continuing that story as well. The show started off with Dario Cueto approaching Sexy Star in the back in her locker room. Sexy Star, obviously the gift of the gods champion. Dario tells Star that she looks worried after his brother Matanza injured the Mac last week, and that was a great match. Very, very physical match. I was very impressed by both men. As always, you guys know how I feel about Matanza. A couple weeks into this thing, I think he's a legit beast. Dario asks Sexy Star if she is afraid for her friend or for herself, because obviously she is going to be getting a Lucha Underground World Championship match against Matanza Cueto. Sexy Star stands up and tells Dario Cueto that she will never be afraid ever again. Dario says that she should be afraid, and he offers her a proposition. Continue to defend her Gift of the Gods title, which Cueto says she will eventually lose, or prove that she is not afraid by fighting Matanza for the Lucha Underground Championship. Dario tells her to not have any fear because that match will not happen tonight. Instead, Dario has another match scheduled for her. Sexy Star will team up with the trio's champions against Worldwide Underground and Johnny Mundo's camp. Sexy Star obviously will be with those guys over there. Mundo comes in and says, and let me reenact this, I don't think we've made any acquaintances. I am Johnny Mundo. Johnny Mundo's a fucking beast, man. Johnny Mundo, obviously, he is one of the most underutilized talents in all of WWE. I posted this on Twitter, man. The man's got fucking charisma seeping from his fucking pores. Guy's unbelievable, man. What a fucking disgrace. WWE didn't utilize this guy better. And I'm glad that he found success in Lucha Underground because obviously his stock has now risen in the eyes of WWE. Johnny Mundo stops, looks at Sexy Star, introduces himself, tells her that after all this time he hasn't introduced himself like I just said. Shakes her hand, says that he's going to be the next Gift of the Gods champion. They stare at each other, and as Mundo leaves, Sexy Star is frustrated and kicks her locker in frustration. So the first match we see tonight, let me pronounce this correctly because I am not Spanish and I don't fucking speak Spanish and I don't know how to pronunciate Spanish. Sinestro de la Muerte versus Prince Puma. I hope I got that right. Anyway, this is the first time I'm actually seeing Prince Puma. Keep in mind, guys, if you guys are new and not subscribed to the channel, this is my second week reviewing Lucha Underground, so I still have to catch up on what's going on. I'm pretty much invested completely in Season 3, so I'm pretty much basing everything I see off Season 3. I have seen bits and pieces of Season 1 and 2, so this is the first time for me, physically, seeing Prince Puma in a Lucha Underground ring. I do know and I am aware of the feud that he has with Mil Muerte, so don't worry about that. We will get into that in a second. So, Prince Puma versus De La Muerte here in the opening match, and it was very fast-paced. Prince Puma looked very, very impressive. Another guy who just makes everything look fucking easy as fuck. He wins here with a flatliner, pretty much sticking it to Mil Muertes, because that's his finishing move. Mil Muertes just came into the ring. Referee didn't even fucking care. Referee standing there. He comes into the ring, bum rushes Prince Puma, and before you know it, Mil Muertes is outside the ring, and he is just watching Prince Puma level out De La Muerte with a flatliner. And then all of a sudden, Prince Puma is in the ring. You see him diving through the ropes on top of Mil Muertes, just fucking pounding away at him. And they leave. So Katrina pulls Muertes away. Puma's in the ring. He stands tall. Crowd's going fucking crazy. And I, just based off this alone, and seeing the athleticism and what Prince Puma brings to the table, and seeing how fucking beast-like Mil Muertes is, I'm looking forward to them getting back in the ring together and finishing what these guys have started from the previous seasons, man. I don't know what's going on with these two. If you guys, like I said, the comments are your forum, man. You guys let me know what's going on here with Mil Muertes and Prince Puma. Fill me in so I understand why these guys are feuding and what caused these guys to get embroiled in this battle like we're seeing right now. What is the reason for them feuding? I'm very interested to know. I'm very interested to see these two guys go at it, because just by the looks of it, it's got the makings of a fucking brutal matchup in Lucha Underground. I can't wait to see what happens with that. Cortez Castro is entering Dario Cueto's office. Castro sees Dario and says, "You wanted to see me, boss." So obviously, I don't know if Cortez knows that Dario knows, but Dario stands up and gives Castro a very strong hug. Dario says he wanted to see how his man Cortez Castro is doing. Dario says that he feels bad about what happened to Francisco and wants to find out who killed him. Now, we all know last week that we had Dario Cueto find out that Cortez Castro is an undercover LAPD officer. His cover was blown, okay? So this week he knows, but he's not showing Cortez Castro that he does know. So Cueto tells Castro that life must go on. We will find the real killer and bring him to justice. As Castro is leaving Dario Cueto's office, he hears Melissa Santos in the background announcing his name. Castro turns to Cueto and Dario says, "And the show must go on as well." Dario goes over to Castro and tells him that he's giving him the match of his career. Castro leaves the office and heads to the ring. Not knowing what was going on as we were watching this, Dario Cueto is a sick motherfucker, man. Because he played off the fact that he did not know what Cortez Castro was doing, but Castro had this worried look on his face like, what the fuck is this guy doing, man? I don't trust this guy as far as I could fucking see him. So he leaves the office. Little does he know, he was thrown into a match with Pentagon Dark. So, again, this is the first time I'm seeing Pentagon Dark. I knew who he was. I knew what he is and what he does. Breaks people's arms at the end of every victory, right? And Pentagon Dark legit destroyed Cortez Castro. Makes quick work and hits him with a package pile driver for the victory. Breaks his arm post-match, and that was pretty much that. You know, I mean, is this something that he's been doing ever since he became Pentagon Dark? So, again, you guys need to sound off in the comments and let me know. How long has he been breaking people's arms post-match? So then he gets on the microphone and states that it doesn't matter who wins between the old man Chavo Guerrero or that skinny punk Dragon Azteca Jr. They will suffer the same fate of broken bones. He says in the ring he doesn't even respect his own mother because he has zero fear. Well, there you fucking go, man. Pentagon Dark doesn't even respect his own mother. Zero After fear. Pentagon Dark pretty much proclaimed that he doesn't even give a shit about his own mother in the middle of the ring, we have an Atomicos match, which apparently is an old Lucha Libre term for a match with explosive elements. But to me, it was only an 8-man tag. So, I don't know what the difference is. There wasn't really any explosive elements to this match that I didn't see in a WWE 8-man tag that we seen on SmackDown. But, listen, it was very enjoyable. I'm not one who is very keen on 8-man tags and fucking fatal 4-ways week after week after week. But this was fun. I'm not taking anything away from the match. This was fun, though. Jack Evans fucking annoys me, man. Jack Evans is a goon. I don't understand why Johnny Mundo would associate himself with this fucking clown. He does nothing but fucking backflips, and he's trying to show off. And he's doing nip-ups in the ring. He adds no fucking value to his team to get a victory. Aerostar, Phoenix, Drago, Sexy Star versus Mundo, Evans, Black, and Taya. Taya was hurt in this match. They played it up at the end of the match, post-match. Worldwide Underground got the victory. It was very chaotic up until the end. Several aerial moves on the outside. You got people fucking diving all over the place. Frantic pace to the match. Taya may have injured her leg. She was seen screaming on the outside. Jack Evans goes to attend, and the commentators make mention of it. Back in the ring, Evans encounters Sexy Star and gets a backslide victory, backslide pin over Sexy Star. So we go back to the opening with Dario Cueto and Sexy Star, and she looked a little bit frustrated, being that she lost. as she was put into this match with the Trios champions of Aristar, Phoenix, and Drago. She lost after that one-on-one with Dario Cueto to begin the show. Post-match here, like I said, Taya was helped to the back. She was injured. She was clutching her leg, and they carried her backstage as they go onto the next segment here. Very, very fun match all over the place. Typical 8-man tag. Really nothing of interest there. It was just a fun match. It did what it did for 10 minutes. I got everybody involved. And that was pretty much it. Main event scene, Dragon Azteca Jr. versus Chavo Guerrero Jr. with Rey Mysterio Jr. as the special guest referee. Now, we seen this last week, and my understanding and what I physically seen and interpreted on the television was that Rey Mysterio was all about protecting Dragon Azteca Jr. Dragon Azteca Jr. went to Dario Cueto and says, listen, I want Pentagon Dark. I want one-on-one. I want my revenge. So Dario Cueto said, you know what? You got your match. He penciled it in, right? So Rey Mysterio comes in, and Dario Cueto fills him in on what's going on, and Rey Mysterio looked as if he did not agree with Azteca Jr. going against Pentagon Dark because he feared for Azteca Jr.'s well-being. So Dario Cueto changes everything. He says, you know what? I changed the match. I wasn't going to do that to Dragon Azteca Jr. I'm going to put him in a match with Chavo Guerrero Jr., but I am going to make Rey Mysterio, you, the special guest referee, and that's going to be written in pen. That was the way the show ended. Now, I interpreted that as Dario Cueto is leaving Dragon Azteca Jr.'s fate in his hands. That's what I interpreted here. Now, going to this match, I honestly thought it was going to be a little bit of hesitation on Rey Mysterio's part about having Azteca Jr. win this match. I didn't think that Rey Mysterio was going to really fully be on board with Azteca Jr. beating Chavo Guerrero because I thought his well-being was more important than getting his arm broken by Pentagon Dark. But after this match was over, Azteca Jr. won, okay? He gets a Hurricane Rana and pins Chavo Guerrero. And from what I interpreted following the match, I feel now what I just mentioned had no validity whatsoever. I feel after the match was over and Chavo Guerrero Jr. pretty much fucked himself over here. He struck an official. Rey Mysterio was the official for this match. He was the sanctioned official for this match by Dario Cueto. So no matter who he is, he's wearing the stripes. He's wearing the stripes. Whatever rules that are in the ring, Rey Mysterio is the leader of that ring. You cannot touch an official. So Chavo Guerrero Jr. touched the official. He got himself fucking... He pretty much fucked himself over here. And by the end of this match with Dragon Azteca Jr. winning, I interpreted everything completely different. I feel now that Rey Mysterio wants Azteca Jr. to live up to that fear. You know? No fear, says Pentagon Jr. I feel now that Rey Mysterio wants Azteca Jr. to have no fear as he goes into this match with Pentagon Dark, man. I completely misinterpreted everything I feel at the end of this match. I don't know what you guys are thinking about that, but I feel there was a little hesitation on Rey Mysterio's behalf for Azteca Jr. to get in the ring with Pentagon Dark. And I felt like Rey Mysterio was going to play more of a role in this match and, you know, say, listen, you don't need to do this. You don't want your match with Pentagon Dark. You're not ready. I don't want you to fucking go in there and get killed and your arm broken. You know, Chavo Guerrero wants this, let him have it, you know. I felt like there was going to be some underlying storyline there, but there was not. Dragon Azteca Jr. wins. Chavo Guerrero eats a 619, and that was pretty much it. So Dragon Azteca Jr. is getting his match with Pentagon Dark. When that is, we will soon find out. At the end, we seen Black Lotus speaking, and she is telling someone that she has destroyed the man that killed them. As Lotus is lighting candles, she says that her work at the temple is not done. She is now summoning the Black Lotus Triad to go after Pentagon Dark. And you see the silhouettes of 3 fucking guys who look like members of the Foot Clan from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles standing behind her. They got these black masks. They look like fucking ninjas that are about to rob a fucking bank and vanish into the night. They will show Pentagon Jr. what fear, or Pentagon Dark, I should say, Pentagon Dark, what fear really looks like. Black Lotus stands up, and behind her are black hooded men. Like I said, they look like the Foot Clan from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. All we need is fucking Super Shredder to come out and Krang to come out with Bebop and Rocksteady to come out, and we'll have the whole fucking clan there. They stand by her side, and she stands proud and determined, and the show goes off the air. That is something I don't know of. I don't know what she is talking about. I am not familiar with Black Lotus. Again, the comment section is yours, guys. Fill me in on what Black Lotus is talking about. Obviously, I have only started in Season 3. This is my second official review. We talked about episodes 1 and 2 in last week's episode. Obviously, we are moving forward with Season 3. So, let me know what's going on with Black Lotus. I don't know. I don't know what the ending meant. But apparently Pentagon Dark is in some serious shit if Black Lotus has the Black Lotus Triad coming after Pentagon Dark. So, let me know. Sound off in the comments. Very, very enjoyable 2-hour block of wrestling tonight. Wednesday is definitely becoming my favorite night of wrestling during the week. SmackDown obviously being number 2 on Monday Night Raw. Well, I don't know, man. I had, what did I have for lunch today? I had fucking pizza. Well, I shit that out before I took a nap this afternoon, and that's pretty much what Monday Night Raw is. So, sorry for the graphic fucking visual, but that's really how I feel about Monday Night Raw, man. It's just awful. The worst night of wrestling during the week. SmackDown, Lucha, and NXT are where it's at right now. I will definitely keep you guys updated on this potential sale of TNA. It has to happen by Friday. I'm hearing all sorts of shit. I'm hearing Bound for Glory might be canceled. I'm hearing wrestlers in TNA having their flights canceled for Bound for Glory. The matches next week canceled for the tapings. I don't know what's going on, man. But I will definitely keep you guys posted on what is going on. Will Vince McMahon buy Impact Wrestling? And will there be a Bound for Glory pay-per-view this coming Sunday? Until then, guys, if you enjoyed the NXT and Lucha Underground review, hit that thumbs up. Let me know what you guys are thinking. Help me out. And let me understand a few things that I mentioned during the Lucha Underground review so that I am up to speed and I know what is going on so I can research on my own and look up videos and look up vignettes and all this shit. You guys are my eyes and ears. You guys are helping me with this. You guys want to see the Lucha Underground reviews each and every week. I am here for it because I'm enjoying it. And it seems fucking entertaining as hell, man. I can't wait to see more. And I am fully invested in Season 3 after only 3 episodes, man. So thank you guys so much for your love and support. Last week's episode did over 12,000 fucking views with over 900 likes, man. That is phenomenal for a review of a show that I never watched before, man. So you guys are fucking beast. And that goes to show you that not only are you here for the wrestling talk and the wrestling content, but more importantly, you're here for me, man. And that means the absolute fucking world to me, man. Thank you guys so much. I'll be back next week, as always. And I'll be back on Friday with Off the Script. Until then, guys, hit that thumbs up. I'm JD. And I'll see you guys next week for more Lucha Underground and NXT. I'll talk to you later.